So we're holding Perek Shlishi. We started Perek Shlishi. I'll do a summary of what we learned until now, so that it's going to be easy to continue. The Mishnah Perek Shlishi continues with tuma and tahara. The difference between, and it dwells on the differences between the levels of strictness that we have between tuma and kodesh. Tuma is anything tuma kohen related. Kodesh is a korban. And the Mishnah enumerates a few differences where kodesh, where korban, is the halacha surrounding a korban are stricter than the halacha surrounding a tuma. And the first part that the Mishnah discussed, this is what we are learning now, and we're going to finish with this today, hopefully, is the halacha that if a person wants to use a vessel for tuma, whatever he wants to put something inside, or use a fork to eat tuma with, whatever it is, can he put the vessel that it needs to toivel now, because it has to be toivel, it has to be pure, can he put it into another vessel and toivel it in a mikvah? And it says, the Mishnah says, that when it comes to tuma, you can put a vessel within a vessel, put it in a mikvah and toivel it, and it's fine. When it comes to kodesh, when it comes to using that vessel for a korban, you cannot put a vessel within a vessel. And the Gemarrah basically, this is the Gemarrah, this is the first difference in the Mishnah, and that's what the Gemarrah is talking about, and we're going to finish with this. There's another case in the Mishnah that speaks about garments, where garments have knots, and whether you have to untie the knots or not untie the knots. The reason why you have to untie the knots or not untie the knots is because a knot if there's a string and the string is knotted, then the string would be considered the knot would be considered a chatzitza, would be considered a barrier, not letting the water through, and therefore if you toivel that beged, it will not become tahara, it will not become pure in order to eat whatever it is that you're eating, tuma or kodesh. And the Mishnah says, tuma, you don't have to untie the knot. Not only that, you can actually tie a knot. And kodesh, when it comes to a korban, you have to untie the knot. The Gemarrah basically tries to figure out what's the reasoning why you cannot toivel a kli within a kli, a vessel within a vessel. And the first reason is going to be brought down by ב.א-כ, that says the reason is chatzitza. If you put one vessel into another vessel, last week we had a cap, and we put the cap into another vessel, so the cap is heavy, so it sits down on the other vessel. No water passes where the contact happens. There's no water going through. So the bill says it's chatzitza. So by tuma we say it's fine, and by kodesh we say it's not fine. The Gemarrah what we're going to cover today is the Gemarrah is going to try to find out if it's good for kodesh. If it's good for tuma, why is it not good for kodesh? If it's not good for kodesh, why is it good for tuma? If it's a chatzitza, it's a chatzitza. That was the ב.א-כ. The Gemarrah asked a question. We have another case in the Mishnah about the beged with the knot, and over there the reasoning is clearly chatzitza. Why would the Mishnah bring down two halachas where the source is chatzitza? If the source is the same, then you can learn from the other. So the Mishnah, the Gemarrah answers that each case is very unique and you can't learn from one the other. That's ב.א-כ. Rava comes and says the reason why you cannot toivel a kli within a kli is not because of chatzitza, it's because we have a different problem. There's a halacha that you cannot, there's a halacha that when a mikvah is, when there's a boiler, there's a pit full of water, but not enough water to make it a kosher mikvah. Next to it there's a kosher mikvah. Now you want to make the other mikvah kosher. What do? You have to mix it. How do you mix it? You open up a hole between the two mikvahs. The hole has to be kashfei feres hanoid, which the Gemarrah explained is 2 fingers, that in a way that you can actually easily turn the 2 fingers. It's a wider gap. Once the hole is this big and the water touches, then the 40 saw in one pit touches the 20 saw, let's say, and the other pit, the 20 saw become a kosher mikvah as well, become a tahara water. And so that's how you connect. So the Gemarrah says, what happens if you toivel a kli within a kli? What are you doing is you're putting something inside the other. We are worried that someone will say, anytime you put something, a vessel within a vessel, an item within a vessel, you can toivel a mikvah. What is he going to do? He's going to take a bottle, and he wants to toivel don't forget, in the old days they didn't have real mikvahs they didn't have pits in the ground that we have, heated mikvahs. They had a river. They went to a river, the ocean, or whatever was a kosher. And if you would put a small vessel, a small utensil into the water, there's a big chance you're going to lose that vessel because the river flows and it goes and boom, you lost it, and it's gone. And things were expensive.
The mankind is different than the mikvah.
Yes, okay.
It doesn't have to be
correct. It doesn't have to be 40 so correct. But if you want to toivel a small, let's say a small tiny needle, yeah, it's a cover completely. So if it's toivel a small a needle in the water, you have to let go for a second. The water just rushes, the needle is gone. And even if it's not a river, let's say it's an ocean or something, so it's not a river, the waves will take it away. So what did I do? Oh, I have a good idea. I can put it inside a bottle, that the opening on top is narrow, and if I put the needle inside and I dip the whole thing into the water, then the needle inside is good. Let's say even if I shake it, make sure there's no chatzitza, I shake the water up and the needle goes up and down, and a toivel like this, it's very, very nice. It's a good idea because then I don't lose the needle. Problem is, we just said that in order to connect two mikvahs, the opening has to be kashifaz zanoit. The bottle opening is definitely less than a kashifaz that I can't stick two fingers inside. So there's a problem. So therefore, they said that when it comes to kadashim, you want to toivel a kadashim, you cannot toivel it in a cup within a cup, because someone is going to see that you toivel a vessel within a vessel, and he's going to say, I can toivel a needle within a bottle, and the bottle is not big enough. And therefore, because we are worried about someone else seeing and learning something around halacha, that's why they don't allow it. That's basically what we're holding. That's what we're holding. Now, we finished off saying that there is a difference in halacha if the reasoning is we are worried about someone learning and toiveling a needle within a bottle, or the reasoning is chatzitza. What's the difference? The difference is this: if I have a vessel that you will not mistake in it and learn from it that you can toivel something within a bottle. Let's say that it's a basket that is very open from all sides, it holes on the bottom. That's called a sal v'galagosani. That's what it's called, v'galagosani. And you put vessels inside the sal, this big basket, and you toivel it. If the reasoning why it's not good is because chatzitza, well, wherever the inner vessel sits on, in the sal, in the basket, there's still chatzitza. In certain parts, there can still be a chatzitza, still be a barrier, because it's touching certain parts on the bottom of the sal. If the reasoning is because I'm worried about someone is going to go put something into a narrow vessel, he's never going to learn that. He's never going to say, oh, because he's toiveled in a sal, therefore I'll toivel the bottle. Because the sal is open, the basket is wide open. He's never going to think, oh, I can toivel in something that's narrow. So accordingly, Rava, that says that the reasoning is of the bottle, he says if you toivel in a sal, you can toivel a kli b'tech kli, even for kodesh.
That's what we do, Taka.
That's what basically we do.
No, when you have cutlery, you want to put in that.
You put it inside, yeah, you open it, you put it in a very open, it has to be very open, it can't be something narrow. Here's an interesting thing though, to keep in mind, we're going to touch that. This is the bottle, we have this halacha that we know that if you buy a bottle in the store, they use it once, when the water is still inside, that was bottled by the bottle company, and because you're really planning on discarding it, throwing in the garbage, therefore you can actually drink from the bottle. It's not a problem, it's like a disposable. If you decide to keep the bottle and start using it for something else, you have to go to a mikvah. No problem. The opening is too narrow. Yeah, the opening is too narrow, so think about that. Okay, so Zag the Gemarrah.
What do you mean too narrow? But you put it in actual fingers.
If I put water inside here, then this becomes its own mikvah. And if I want to make sure that the water inside is toil, then the opening, we said, in mikvah, two mikvahs that want to connect, the opening has to be 2 tfachim.
It's only by glass. By plastic, it's b'chol chumra.
Glass is also chumra.
Huh?
Glass is also chumra, no?
Metal and glass.
Metal and glass, no. And plastic, not plastic, hard plastic. Hard plastic, there's, people would say, if it comes to a moisid that serves kids, you have to be machmir. In your own house, you do what you decide, what your love tells you. But hard plastic, according to many, that especially hard plastic today that is not disposable, technically you need a toilet without a blatt. Without a blatt.
Glass you do with bracha?
100%, yeah. No. Okay. So the Gemarrah, we're in the middle of Daf Chav Beis Amud Aleph. There's a Toises Abba Shoel Oim Tuma. Right next to it, 2 lines up, Vahanabili. So Rava said that Toiveling a kli, toiveling a small needle or whatever it is in a bottle that has a narrow opening is a problem. When is it a problem? If the bottle, the vessel, is tahara. So the only reason you're putting the needle inside is because I want the needle to become a tahara. Now if I dip it into the mikvah, I want the water to be retained in the bottle. Now the bottle makes its own mikvah. Now I need to make sure it's connected with two tvachim. But if the bottle itself is tuma and I want to toivel the bottle itself, what do we do when we toivel? We can take a bottle and toivel in the mikvah, make sure the water fills up till the top, and it's not a problem. Why? Because I don't have an intention to make the bottle retain the water. I want to toivel the bottle. So if I put a tummy needle in a tummy bottle and dip it in the mikvah, then I don't need two fingers opening. So also for us, if I want to toivel the bottle for me to drink, I don't want the bottle to be filled with water. I want to toivel it. I can dip it in the mikvah, no problem. So
how do you get the needles out without it touching the tummy bottle? Or the bottle becomes tahara?
If the bottle is tummy, I can do it no problem. Because I'm toiveling the bottle and I'm toiveling the needle. What's the difference? The inside of the bottle becomes tahara when I toivel it.
But you don't have the two finger breaths.
So that's what I'm saying. When is there an issue with two finger breaths?
If that's tahara and you need it inside the stomach.
This is tahara, and the reason I'm putting the needles inside is because I don't want to lose the needle. So basically, what I want the bottle to retain the water. Then I'm creating a second mikvah within a mikvah. Then I have two mikvahs. In order to connect it, I have to have two finger breaths. But if I'm not, that's not my intention. My intention is to toivel the bottle. The fact that I put two needles inside is a separate thing. I want to toivel the bottle because the bottle is tummy. Then the Gemarrah says the halacha is that because the bottle itself, the inside becomes toilet, what difference does it make if there's another needle inside? So the Gemarrah says only if the vessel is tahara is there a problem, because the only reason I'm dipping into the mikvah is to retain the water. But if the vessel itself, the bottle is tummy, just like the inside of the bottle becomes tahara when I'm dipping in the mikvah, the needle inside will also become tahara. The tvila, the water of the tvila goes into all parts of the bottle. So the water will also go into the kelim, the vessels that are inside the bottle. So Rav's halacha is only if the bottle is tahara. If the bottle is tamei, then you can dip it inside, no problem. That's a side point. The Tanam learned in the Mishnah, kelim shemilam kelim v'hitbilan hadei. If you have kelim vessels that I want to toivel them, and then I filled it in with other vessels, v'hitbilan, and I toivel both of them together, why? Because I don't have an intention. I don't want the outside vessel to become its own mikveh. I want to toivel the outside vessel because it itself needs tefillah. Then I put other vessels inside. What's the big deal? Now the Gemarrah is going to say cryptic words. But if you didn't toivel it, mayim hamodav, in the water that's mixed up, until it's mixed up, kesheferes anoid, has to be open like the shvesna, two finger width. What does it say? My kamal v'im le'tava. What is it saying? This makes sense. Hachkamal. First part of the Mishnah says if the bottle is tamei and I put other kelim inside the bottle and I toivel it, harei toivel. Then the Mishnah comes and continues and says v'im ein et tzarich latbilah. If the outer vessel does not need tefillah because it's toil, then if I put it inside the mikvah, I have a problem. Why? Because there's no shefes night. But what can I do in order to prevent that? If there's water that I need to mix it, until there's an opening. So here we see two things from this Mishnah. Number one, that if you see basically same thing on both ends. If the vessel is toil, then you need to have an opening of two of two fingers. If the vessel is tamei, you can dip it in as is and not a problem. So love is a halacha that says we are worried that someone will see someone toivel a vessel within a vessel and therefore will toivel this. This worry is only if the outer vessel is toivel. This is a side halacha that if the outer vessel is toivel, it's a problem. If the outer vessel is tamei, then you can toivel it because the outer vessel itself becomes toivel, and there you put kelim inside, it doesn't make a difference. Now the Gemarrah is going to say, so we said there's a machloeka, so the reasoning why a vessel within a vessel, the Gemarrah Mishnah says like this, a vessel within a vessel, you can toivel it for tuma, you can't toivel it for kodesh. This machloekas, and we say that the difference of the opinion of the Ilan Lava is if we're toiveling in a very wide basket that has opening on all sides. Rava says it's not a problem. Both for tuma and kodesh is not a problem because no one will ever learn if you see a big basket being toiveled, no one will say, "Oh, I see a guy putting kalim within a big basket. I can now toivel a needle within a bottle." No one is going to say that. So Rava says a big basket is okay, and Ila that says the issue is chatzitza. The chatzitza still exists. So this machlokes is the machlokes in Tanoim. The hard Rava of Ila Tanoi. Tanya will learn a big basket that is open from all sides, has holes in the bottom and open on top. Shemilon kalim, if you fill it up with vessels, veit bilon, and you toivel it, bein kodesh ben tuma to hide. Side for kodesh, for using it as for the karbonis, and side for tuma is toivel. Like Rava says, it's not a problem because the issue would be learning that a small bottle is an issue. And here you wouldn't learn it. The tuma, it's good. Because there's still the issue of chatzitza still exists in a big basket. So therefore, for tuma it's good, and for kodesh it's not. Now we're going to come to actually the original question. If according to the Ila, there is an issue of chatzitza by kodesh, why doesn't this issue exist by tuma? If it's not an issue for tuma, why is it an issue for kodesh? And according to Rava, that there's an issue of learning. If you see someone toiveling a vessel within a vessel, so if it's tuma, it's fine. But if it's kodesh, no, someone is going to turn it and I'll go take a bottle and put a needle inside. Why isn't that worry there by tuma? What's the difference? Why are we differentiating with tuma and kodesh? The reasoning doesn't really give you room for that differentiation. The reasoning is chatzitza. Chatzitza would be a problem by tuma also. The reasoning is the bottle. The reason for bottle would also be by tuma.
That's what. So you can't say that it's just achar madriga in kedusha.
No, you can't say that. If chatzitza is a real problem, chatzitza is a real problem. If the chatzitza problem exists by kodesh, then why would you say by tuma doesn't exist? If the problem is someone else will see a bottle and toivel it, why by kodesh you say, "Oh, I'm very worried, someone else will toivel a bottle"? By tuma, no problem. Look how I'm doing it. I'm putting a vessel within a vessel. But you're not going to learn that it doesn't make sense. The logic doesn't make sense. So if I the Gemarrah, tuma nami, tuma also should be a problematic to toivel it. If it's a chatzitza problem, who says because it's tuma therefore the chatzitza doesn't exist? Or if it's learning that the guy will toivel a bottle or something will not that problem won't exist by tuma. He sees him toiveling something. He's going to think for tuma is also fine. And for the Gemarrah, leman kamin, who is the Mishnah talking to? Chaveinim, we're talking about Talmid Chachamim. And Chaveinim made a yad. Talmid Chacham know that when you toivel a bottle, when you toivel a vessel within a vessel, if the issue is chatzitza, they're going to know to swing the cup around and make sure that the bottle touches. Therefore, by tuma you're allowed. If the issue is but someone else seeing with the needle, we're talking about Talmid Chacham at toiveling. He's not going to go and toivel a bottle within a needle. But that's not a good answer, because then why kodesh not? Why by kodesh do we say, even though it's a Talmid Chacham, I'm worried that it's going to be a chatzitza. Even though it's a Talmid Chacham, maybe you'll go toivel now a bottle with a needle inside. For the Gemarrah, if we're talking about Talmid Chacham, the no halacha, they should be able to toivel a vessel within a vessel by kodesh also, because no one is going to say it's chatzitza. He's going to swirl it around. Kodesh nami. And for the Gemarrah, no, but kodesh is a different problem. Chazir le'amadatz. And the amahadatz that doesn't know the halachas will see him toiveling a kodesh kli, and he'll say, I can toivel a keli that has a chatzitza. Or he'll see someone toiveling a vessel within a vessel, and he'll say, I can toivel a needle within a bottle by kodesh. But that, again, this doesn't make sense. V'az l'madbil, and he goes and he will toivel. And v'az madbil. So the Gemarrah asks back, but the same problem exists by tuma. If Amahadatz sees someone toiveling a tuma vessel within a vessel, again he'll have the same problem. He'll go toivel a vessel within a vessel. So he says, the Gemarrah says it's not a problem. Also, the Amatz will see that someone toiveling a vessel within a vessel, and he's going to say, I can toivel a vessel within a vessel for tuma. Why do we say tuma is not a problem? You said before that Talmid Chacham no, but the issue is now that someone that's not a Talmid Chacham is going to see him toivel a vessel within a vessel, and he's going to say, I can toivel a vessel within a vessel. He doesn't see the Talmid Chacham swirling the cup and doing something to make sure it's not. And he's not a Talmid Chacham to know that a needle within a bottle is not good.
He doesn't know if it's true or kodesh.
Also true. He doesn't know.
I didn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. So Mele, that reason it doesn't work out. Zok the Gemara, no, but tuma is not a problem. Why? Because loy mekavlil minayu tuma, we have a klal, we don't accept ma'amadas. There is, Rashi says, there is only once a year or a certain time, specific time a year, that if a Ama'aretz comes to the Kohen and says, I have tuma to give, we take it from him. During the year, during the regular year, we don't. When is the time? During Gita v'Habanim, when they work, when they, I guess, the harvest or something, that's when they take the tuma from the Ama'aretz. So throughout the year, we are worried that the Ama'aretz doesn't know all the halachas, and he basically would not make sure, he's not completely certain, or he's not guarding himself to become Tavis. Therefore, we don't accept tuma throughout the year. So therefore, even if a Ma'aretz toivels a vessel within a vessel without swirling it for tuma, no coin is going to accept it from him because it is an Ma'aretz. So with tuma we have no issue. When it comes to kodesh, we got an issue. So the Gemarrah.
When
What?
When did he say that saw the rabbi do it?
He will say they saw the rabbi do it, and therefore he will. And the problem is, the answer to that is, you saw the rabbi do it, no problem. But what is it? This is you bring me tuma. I'm not can accept it. We don't accept tuma. So the problem is now kodesh the same thing also. Maybe toivel the vessel within a vessel for kodesh, and it comes to the kohen. I want to bring kodesh. Here's an apple with a fork. I'm going to eat it. So why do we trust the Amadas then? So here, huh?
Why don't we?
Why don't we trust the Amadas then? No, we say but kodesh. Yeah, why don't we trust the? Yeah. Kodesh naminam nekala. So do also by kodesh. Don't accept anything that the guy brings. Havile eva. Here we have a problem of jealousy, of animosity. If you make the Chanal says that when it comes to kodesh, he's going to come to the base of where do you do kodesh? Kodesh is a korban. Where do you bring a korban? In the Beis Hamikdash. Allah shows up in Beis Hamikdash. I want to bring a korban together with the oil and the flour and all the accessories of the korban, and it brings vessels and it brings everything. And they tell him, I'm sorry, I can't take it because you're Amadas. So what's the Amadas going to tie in? The Beis Hamikdash says he'll say the lashon Beis Hamikdash is.
I was careful about it.
No, it says an interesting lashon. It says, "What don't think I'm a yid." Are we not yid that you don't trust us? So basically, we don't want them to think that way. We don't want to differentiate. We don't make animosity and jealousy and anger between the yid. And so therefore, by kodesh, we have a heta that we accept it from a Amaretz. It's not so simple because if it's tuma, it's problem. So the Gemara is going to explain that when it comes to kodesh, even the Amalatzim are more careful. When it comes to tuma, there's a Mishnah somewhere that the Amalatzim were never careful about tuma. And therefore, I think Ezra, whoever it was, had to make a takana that he punished them. The Kahanim, there's a whole thing. When it comes to kodesh kabbanis, they're like, okay, it's a step higher. It's Beis Hamikdash. They're careful about it. But here, basically, kodesh we have to accept because of Eva. Tuma we don't have to accept because we have a problem. The Gemara is going to ask a question now. Let's finish this and we're going to go backtrack this whole Gemara. Why is there no Eva by Tuma? If a Hamad shows up in Beis Hamikdash or shows up to any Kohen that's a Tal and says, here I have Tuma, please eat my Tuma. And the Kohen is going to say, I'm sorry, I can't take it, you're Hamad. Why wouldn't that create animosity? So the Gemara Tuma nami havele eva. Why but tuma? Don't we say that there's also animosity? Eva. The Amar doesn't care about tuma because the ozil yoiv and the kohen Amar chava. You can give it to someone on the same status. You can give it a kohen that's also an Amar and give him the tuma. We can tell him, I'm sorry, I can accept it, whatever reason. I don't need the hechsher or whatever it is. But go to so and so, and he'll gladly accept the tuma for you. So therefore, when it comes to tuma, I have a way out. When it comes to kodesh is something that happens in Beis Hamikdash. All the Geharrim in Beis Hamikdash are Talmidei Chacham. They learn the halachas. They know the halachas tuma tahara. So if you tell them that no Talmid Chacham can accept any korban, any kodesh from Ramadas, you can create massive animosity. And the Gemarrah later on is going to say the reasoning behind it. But basically, let's backtrack. So now it's like this. The Mishnah says you can't toivel a vessel within a vessel. By tuma, you could. Kodesh, you can't. Why is this way? Because we're talking about an amah that's seeing and doing the same. Now, when it comes to tuma, it's not a problem. We don't accept tuma from amahs. Are you going to say there's ava? No, you give it to someone else. When it comes to kodesh, however, we have to accept the vessel. We have to accept the kodesh of amahs. Therefore, I'm more careful when it comes to kodesh. I'm more careful with how I toivel my things, and I say vessel within a vessel. But kodesh is not good because maybe an amad is going to see me toiveling a vessel that's for another vessel by kodesh, and he's going to do this. He's going to do the same without being careful, swirling it, make sure there's no chatzitzo. He's going to toivel a needle within a bottle. So by kodesh, because we have the issue of ava, and we have to accept whatever the amalek brings, I have to make sure that he doesn't make a mistake in how he toivels the keli, and therefore we make we make a boundary how we toivel the keli. When it comes to tuma, because we anyways don't accept it, ava is not an issue. Therefore, toivel however you want. That's what the Gemarrah is saying. There's only one question that it's not still so clear by me, which you mentioned. When the amalek sees the guy toiveling something, all he knows is that he's toiveling for something holy. He doesn't know if he's toiveling for tuma or for kodesh. So therefore, how does the guy that's toiveling a vessel within a vessel, and the amalek watches from behind him and sees it, how does the amalek know that he's toiveling tuma vessel, and therefore he will toivel another tuma vessel? Maybe he's thinking that he's toiveling a vessel for kodesh, and he's also going to go toivel a vessel for kodesh. Understand what I'm saying? The answer is I think the answer is that, again, like I mentioned before, but when it came to kodesh, even the malatzim were more careful. So even if he saw it, he would make sure to find out, am I doing it right? Am I doing it right? But when it comes to tuma, we're not worried about that. Okay, Zog the Gemarrah. Uman Tane the Chayish Leva. Which Tane is the one that says that because of Ava, by tuma, because of Ava, and because of Ava exists, we have to accept the kodesh, and therefore we have to make sure we toivel it correctly. Rabbi Yossi, the Tanya, Rabbi Yossi, why are even Amohadatzim trusted that wine and oil are toilet entirely? Why do we trust that didn't make tuma? Because we're worried about this ava, this idea of animosity. An amad is going to come to Beis with its oil, with his wine, with a carbon. I'm going to tell him, no, I can't accept it. He says, you know what? I remember there was a time when we all had backyard mizbeachs, called the Bama. We had this backyard mizbeach, and everyone did whatever they wanted. We had also Shiur, but everyone had their own thing. If they don't want me, so they made this exclusive club, they're not accepting someone that's not on their status, I'll build my own mizbeach in the back. Because what we're going to do is that everyone is going to go and build himself a mizbeach in the back. The Sarif is going to burn himself a Padadum in order to become Toil. So that creates an animosity, Ava. So therefore they said, Kodesh, certain things, Yain Shem, and certain things we're going to trust them. In addition to that, because we trust them, because the Amanatzim also know the Kodesh is something you don't play with, it's playing with fire. When we come to the Beis Hamikdash and holiness, so they are also more careful. Amar of Papa, to finish off this piece, Amar of Papa, according to whom do we accept today Eidos, witness statements from Amadas? Amadas doesn't understand everything that it entails, so we shouldn't accept witness statements from Amadas, but we see that we do accept because again, we are careful not to make a difference between people. Because this idea of Ava, we accept them, we accept their wine, we accept their oil, we accept their witness statements. Okay. Now comes an interesting process. Ask the question, when can a Rosh Hashiva not claim that he's a Talmud Chacham?
What is the punishment for accepting something from an Amaretz that's not good?
If it's Tameh, then the punishment could be, I think, even the Kodesh. Or I believe. I have to check on that exact, but it's bringing Tameh into the Beis Hamikdash is a big avail. Taisa says like this. I asked the question on the finger as a tidbit, when can a Talmud Chacham not claim that it's a Talmud Chacham? Sagt das, Command Kalman Sadusim Amods Kabiyasi. Harav B'Chanon Oilan. The Kaimel al Kabiyasi. We have go according to Rabbi Yossi. V'chashinan le'Eva. And we worried about this issue of hatred of Eva. Lefichach mezamninan achshav b'chol amods. Today, when we sit down and want to make zimun, we want to make Bilchas Hamazon, and we want to 3 or 10. So in the past, It says, it says, Ein mezamin la'amoratz. We don't include amalatzim in the zimun. But because today we have this issue of Eva, we don't want to differentiate, therefore we accept amalatzim.
Is that the reason, or because we're all amaratzim?
Hold on a second. So I give a farish a step further. The loy kol little Hashem lahachzik la'atzim talmid chacham. This title of someone being a talmid chacham is not free fall. Not anyone who wants to come and call himself a talmid chacham can come. And call himself a talmid chacham, and therefore I cannot bench with amads. Shloi zaman amads b'yodai lito. Not this title is not for everyone to take. So just because you call yourself a talmid chacham, you talk a talmid chacham. He says the halacha, when it comes to benching, no one is considered talmid chacham. It can be a shiva, it can be a talmid. You don't say I'm a talmid chacham. You are not. I can't be with a different status. You can't be part of my group to make zimun.
You say Rishus or honorable.
We mean.
You're calling everybody a talmid chacham all of a sudden.
1 second. Yeah, called them on, and we're talking about the Chachamim from years gone by, but the local guys, no one is, even though you have to give the kohen to bench first, and kohen talmid chacham is more. Okay, but when it comes to benching 3 guys together, don't say, okay, you're talking chacham, I'm others. No, sorry, I can't do it together. So even if a Rosh Hashiva can make zimun with a pashtit. Okay, that is this. Zag the Gemarrah, the dat inside the Gemarrah. By the way, as a side note, there is a little machlokes here. I'm not going to go deeply into it, but there's a machlokes here. Does anyone argue with Rabbi Yosef? Rabbi Yosef says we accept things from Amalatz because of Eva, because of animosity. Does someone argue with Rabbi Yosef and say that we don't accept it? So according to Rashi says that that the Chachamim don't agree with him. Why does it say that? Because it says in the Mishnah Pesachim that we don't accept witness statement from Amalatzim. The Shonim in different places disagree with Rashi and say no. Everyone agrees that the idea of Eva exists by everyone. The reason the Mishnah says in Pesachim we don't accept witness statements over there we're talking about the Ama'aletz, that not only is Ama'aletz but he's also Balaveda. He openly makes Avedas. Here we're talking about an Ama'aletz that he just doesn't know all the halachas, but he's a Yid, he's Mekayim, Torah mitzvahs, everything.
Why you can call him an Amaretz instead of just a Balavera? Is it?
Because back then they mixed it all up. Because seemingly they mixed it all up. Someone Amaretz was someone that it says that if you don't know the halachas, it's almost like it's a pshir. You should go and learn. I guess.
But in other words, if you had the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
Now, like back in Russia, you don't call those guys Amaretz. You have.
That's something
Right.
else.
Okay, Zog mal weiter. So basically we said that someone, Amaretz, that we don't accept any vessels or anything from Amaretz when it comes to tuma. We don't accept it from Amaretz. And therefore it's not a problem. He could have it however he wants. We don't accept it anyways. What if a Talmid Chacham borrows a vessel from an Amaretz? He borrows it, goes over to Amaretz and says, you have a good fork, I want to use it to eat my tuma. So if the Amaretz toiveled incorrectly, now the Talmid Chacham is going to eat tuma with a vessel that wasn't toiveled correctly. So the Gemara we should be worried about she'ela, borrowing. And he's going to bring proof that Talmid Chacham actually borrow vessels from Amalatzim. That none. A very interesting halacha. You have a dead body, a dead body sitting in a house. Torah says that if there's a kulcheres in the house, if there's an earthenware vessel in the house, and it's sealed well, whatever is inside the vessel stays Torah. Why? Because a kulcheres is mafsik. It's considered a chatzitza for the tumah. It's a barrier for the tumah. Everything inside is Torah. What if there's another halacha, that if the vessel itself was tamei, and he put Torah items inside and sealed it, and then there is a dead body, then someone dies in the house, because the vessel itself is tamei, it's not a barrier anymore. It's like as if it just goes through and everything inside is tamei. So, that now, klicheres, a klicheres that's totally sealed, matzil al koil, saves everything that's inside the vessel. Dira besil, B'Shamma say, no, eina matzil, elo al oichle val mashkin val klicheres. He has a big klicheres, he puts food inside, he puts drink inside, he puts other earthenware, he puts metal spoons and golden vessels, and he puts other stuff inside. So he says the only thing that will stay good inside the klicheres is the food, the drinks, and the other klicheres. Anything else, if it's wood in there or if it's a metal or something, it becomes tummy. So
It becomes tummy, but even if it touches the other things, it doesn't.
no, it just the tummy that becomes tummy. Even if it touches, we're not going to go into that thing. But technically, let's say the separate compartment, what it wants to bring out, it's very interesting halacha that it's an earthen, it's a cheres, a klicheres, it's closed. Some items inside are going to become tummy, some not. And Basila is going to try to understand the reasoning behind it. So, Abolem Basila, so 5 lines in the bottom, Abolem Basila turns to B'Shamma and says, I don't understand what you're saying. What's the reasoning? What's the reasoning that some items become tummy and some not? B'Shamma, he said, the reasoning is because it's missing a detail in the story. And Ama'aretz touched the earthen vessel. Now the tumas Ama'aretz itself, the fact that Ama'aretz, anything that touches the tummy, is not of the Raises or the Rabbanon. So the Ama'aretz touched the earthen vessel, so the earthen vessel has a tuma according to the Rabbanon. Therefore, it doesn't protect the tuma of the dead body that's inside that house. But because it's not a full tuma, it's a tuma of Ama'aretz, therefore only certain things will be tummy. Vein kli tummy choitzitz. A kli tummy is not a barrier. So now, the Basila said, if azoi, everything should become tummy. If it's tummy because of Ama'aretz, then why do you say that the oichel, drinks, mashkin, and klicheres, the earthen vessels stay tummy, but everything else is tummy? Everything should become tummy. You said that the food and drinks and the klicheres is good. B'Shamma's answer them, we didn't give a blank check and it's blank heter to say everyone can use it. We only said that the Ama'aretz can eat the food and drinks. For the Ama'aretz itself, we cleared it. Can we say that all the other vessels, that those vessels you might use as well, the Ama'aretz uses, and you might use as well? Can we say that is toil? Because then a Talmud Chacham will borrow the vessel that's inside the earthenware, the klicheres, and he'll use something. So here we see, first of all, this whole concept that a Talmud Chacham could borrow vessels from an Ama'aretz. So basically, that was the whole proof. The Mishnah finishes off there that Basil agreed with B'Shamma and Taka said, yes, the halacha is that if the earthen vessel is tummy because of Ama'aretz touching it, and there's a dead body in the house, food, drinks, and other earthen vessels inside will be tahara, and everything else will be tummy. Still, it's interesting to understand why, and the Gemarrah is going to discuss that now. Why certain things tummy? Tanya, we learned in Abayisa. Amar Yeshua said, I'm embarrassed by the words of the Shammai. I'm embarrassed by what you're saying. He was very upset about it. Embarrassed by the words of the Shammai. It almost Chaz Shalom shows that you're ignorant. A different case. What if it's not a vessel? What if there's a house that has 2 floors? We know that the tuma goes up. If there's an opening, tuma goes up. So there's a house, 2 floors, and there's a big opening in the middle between the 2 floors. A big opening, a big window opening. So technically, if there's a dead body in the first floor, it goes up. Everything inside the second floor becomes tummy. What if I cover the opening with a klicheres, with an earthen vessel, from an Ama'aretz, touched it, it's tummy? So now, according to your logic that said if a Ama'aretz touches the klicheres, everything goes through. Here's an interesting thing. There's a woman inside the second floor. She has a wooden bowl, and she's kneading the dough. The dough is oichlin. The oichlin will be tar. The wooden vessel will be tummy. The woman will be tummy 7 days because of the tumas mess. But the oichlin will be tar for the what's it called? Zog the Gemarrah, Efshe
The wood would make the tummy.
No, apparently not. Efshe isha losha ba'adeva. Is it possible that a woman losha needs dough ba'adeva, this wooden vessel? Isha ba'adeva tmei and shiva. The isha ba'adeva, the tummy 7 days. Meaning you have to go through a whole purification process. Or but the actual dough is tahara. Another example. What if in the same second floor login there is metal jugs, mole mashkin, and full of drinks? Login the metal jug, because it's metal, tuma shiva, you will be tummy for 7 days and you have to go make for the third and the 7th day. Or mashkin, but the oil or whatever the mashkin is inside is tahara. Doesn't make sense. So the Shiur basically said, I'm embarrassed even by that logic, by the idea that you came up with.
What part of it? The part that if an Amoritz touches it and now does not become a barrier for tuma?
The idea, yeah, together with the idea that now because the Amoritz touched it, certain things become tummy, certain things not. Why do you say that Yeshua was missing a critical piece to understand? Why did Beishamai say that the food and drink and earthen vessels stay tahara for an Amoritz? Not for an Amoritz. So, Nitpa Talmud Echad mit Talmidei Beishamai. One of the Talmidim of Beishamai was there, and he attached himself to the Beshua and he said, Amaloi, Amalachot Haimon Shel Beishamai. Do you want me to tell you the reason of Beishamai? Amaloi, Amaloi, tell me. Amaloi told him, Klitami. He explained this idea to him. Klitami. I went like this. Klitami choitzes or choitzes. Forget the Amaloi. If the kli is tummy, does the tuma go through or not? Is there a barrier or not? It's not a barrier and the tuma goes through. Now, kli shel Amaloi, tummy or toil. Kli of Amaloi is a tummy or toil. Amaloi tummy.
In general.
Yeah. So here, this is what new until now. He worked out the details. I mean, I was thinking when I learned this, I was thinking that today I was driving somewhere and I was opening the radio and listened to an argument about some stupidity, ice, this and that, about the legality of kicking out the student or not, And you have what's his name, the Mark Rubio being interviewed with some woke media, and again pressing the same stupid question again and again, and he's trying to explain to her that no, it's legal. According to the mother, what he should have done to her is basically ask her. So let's discuss one second. Occupying the building against and holding people hostages in a building and not allowing people the freedom to enjoy, is that legal or not? Let's go one by one. It's legal, not legal. Coming to the United States and signing a visa or a green card, saying that you're not going to do any terrorist activities, you're not going to do all the different things that you have to sign when you have a green card. Yeah, no. Basically, make her say the answer. Instead of arguing with her, make her say. So this is what the Talmud Chacham told the Beshua. Number one, this is correct? Yeah. This is correct? Yeah. So now we know, a Amaloi that touches a vessel, the vessel becomes tummy. Good. Does tuma go through? Yes. Okay, so now we are good with this. Tuma went through. You have a problem now, because now you said that only food and drinks and the earthen vessel is tahara, the rest is tummy. Why? So it says very simple. If you tell this Amaloi that tummy, if you tell the Amaloi that his vessels are tummy all of a sudden, that it's inside the
mashkin,
the oichel mashkin and the glecheres, klumash giach alecha. Will he even listen to you? Not only that, not only will he not listen to you, he will tell you. Who gives you the right to tell my vessel is tummy? He says, no, what I'm talking about. Yours is tummy, mine is tummy. Basically, the arrogance of Amaloi will not allow him to accept it. And basically, so when it comes to food and drink and an earthen vessel, because an earthen vessel, if it becomes tummy, there's no takani, there's no way to fix it. You have to break it and redo it, yeah? Food also, when it becomes tummy, food items, you can't really be metallic. It becomes tummy, that's it. It has to be eaten with tuma. So, if you tell the Amaloi that these items are lost forever, that tummy, and only a tummy person can eat it, he's not going to accept it because it's a final loss. There's nothing else he can do with it. If you tell him that the metal spoon inside is tummy, but Toiveling on the 3rd day, Toiveling on the 7th day, then you're fine. Then he'll, that I can accept. But for you to tell me that I have a monetary loss, I'll lose my food, I'll lose my drink, and I'll lose my earthly vessel forever, that he won't accept. So that's the idea. The reason by Shammai said food and drink and earthen vessel for an Ha'aretz stays because he would accept it, but the vessels he won't accept. As soon as Rabbi Shiur heard that there was a good logic and Basil also agreed with it, what did he do?
Usually Beis Shammai is,
Yeah,
he's
but here
almost
Basil was agreed with it. The Gemara says there. V'zeu time of Shammai. Miyad holach B'shuv in Shtat Erech al Kiva B'Shammai. As soon as B'shuv heard that he went to the cave of B'Shammai, I guess many Kvalim. Oman, he says, Nanesi lachem atzomes B'Shammai. I dishonored you. I guess I was not nice because I said Boishka. I was embarrassed. The words that are hidden, they're not clearly explained, have such good, deep reasoning. Everything that he said is clear as also, and basically he begged forgiveness. His teeth were black because he fasted constantly to be forgiven for the sin of saying that I'm embarrassed by the words of Hashem. But finally, coming to conclusion, we see that from the story we see that the metal spoon inside, because a Talmud Chacham would be able to borrow from the Ha'aretz, therefore by Shammai says that is Tameh, and the Ha'aretz will have to go toivel it. But we see that the Talmud Chacham could borrow a vessel from an Ha'aretz, and basically the question is, when it comes to Toiveling a vessel within a vessel for tuma, we say we don't accept tuma from Ha'aretz. Fine, but what if the vessel that he toiveled a Talmud Chacham will borrow? We now see Talmud Chacham borrow vessels. So so we should tell the people that he can't toivel a vessel within a vessel, because lest Ha'aretz toivels it this way and is not careful, and the Talmud Chacham will then borrow. And for the Gemarrah. So in fact, the Gemarrah Ketonim is we start to learn that basically a Talmud Chacham can borrow it. Alma Shalidim Menai, that we borrow vessels from an Ha'aretz, and for the Gemarrah Shalidim Menai, when we borrow vessels from an Ha'aretz, Matbilina, and we actually go and toivel the vessel again. Matbilina no. Oy Bazoi, if we anyways toivel the vessel, Basil should have told Beshamai, why do you say that the kalim inside is Tomei? Say the kalim inside is toilet for the Ha'aretz. Anyways, if a Talmud Chacham borrows the vessel, toilet. Why do you have to say that the vessel is toilet? Say everything is toilet. Basil could have asked, not that Basil holds this, but Basil could have asked back to Beshamai. Basil could have retorted back to Beshamai. Anyways, we toivel. Anyways, toivel the vessel. So why do you say the vessel is tomei? Say the vessel is toivel. Anyways, the Talmud Chacham is going to toivel it. And when it comes to a tuma of mess of a dead body, then in order to cleanse it, in order to purify it, you have to toivel on the third day and on the seventh day. Umana, which basically means that if a Ha'aretz borrows a vessel a Talmud Chacham borrows a vessel from a Ha'aretz, he would have to borrow it for at least 7 days, wait 3 days, toivel it, wait another 4 days, toivel it, and then can he use it? Back in those days when no one had so many vessels, no one lent out his vessel for 7 days. People wouldn't give it out. And therefore, we say that we trust the Ha'aretz. We trust him that he will toivel it once. We say it's Talmud, he will toivel it once. The Talmud Chacham will take it, wait another 3 days, toivel it again for the second toivel, and he'll be fine. Okay, we'll stop here.